What is the difference between just words and a story? Direction and sorting. Like if I say the cat jumped on the roof, all right, you got something to say. If I said roof, okay, you know what I mean, jumble the words, you get it. It doesn't really mean much. Next question for my computer science people. What do you think the value is of a depth first search, breadth first search, Dijkstra's algorithm, standalone, no context, right? When we are performing these searches, why are we performing them? So that why that's over there, paired with the question I asked earlier about the story aspect, the sorting, the direction, even for Dijkstra's algorithm, like that minimal resistance path, like maximizing the efficiency to get from point A to point B. Why? Why be efficient? Our universe is telling infinite stories. The sphere point, what you want to call the Big Bang, I guess, but from my cosmology, link in bio, the sphere point is actually transcendental sound. It is an infinite story set. Now, can you imagine transcendental sound? Right? It's like the word alone, like what does that mean? But when you say infinity, so every story, think about like words, with the sound, so there's this piece and then there's the space it exists in. So there's still space. You want to remove all that, right? Like infinite sound. So what does that seem like? Like block sound? Would it be infinitely loud or infinitely silent? Something to think about for my computer science people, but for everybody. The big O notation, which is just talking about space and time complexity of like algorithms, there's like levels of efficiency, and it's, you know, there's O for, is it omega? Damn, it's been a while. But the values in parentheses indicate the level of efficiency. So O of 1 would be constant space and constant time, like right then and there. And I've had a video on this before of like, why do cosmological systems tend to go towards homeostasis? And when you apply awareness as fundamental, consciousness as, you know, that past reversal, and then self-awareness as emergent, then you may argue that the cosmos would like to realize itself quickly, all aspects of itself, if it can. And if something is happening in constant space-time, what does that look like? So think about reproduction. And think about what recursion is. Okay, repeating. So if it creates creations that can also then create, that lessens the load on the cosmos. It'll have the, let's say, minimum number of differentiated forms necessary at like maybe one point of time to then recursively create again. And while they're doing their recursive creation, the cosmos now has more time to build new things and learn about new differentiations. All these permutations and combinations are happening. And I understand nihilism can enter the chat. So let's diffuse that real quick. Oftentimes we want to know whether there is one meaning, or we kind of, I mean, if it's not there, then we kind of feel hopeless. And if we apply a meaning to it, it's like, oh, but we applied the meaning, so why does it actually have to mean anything? But hang on, because it feels like a bias, right? I think there's that inner scientist in everyone that's kind of saying like, why would it just go towards one type of meaning? Like, that doesn't seem realistic. But when you consider that it's an infinite story set, like infinite types, styles, dimensions, angles of meanings that are all being realized, we're just in one reality's version of them. Of course, everything is happening at a far more complex scale, right? I understand I'm being reductive, but I'm just trying to teach my cosmology in like digestible segments at a time. They're infinite meanings, okay? Okay, so there's no bias. I mean, there really can't be. The cosmos is trying to realize itself. There's this Sanskrit term called samsara, cycle of death and rebirth, and liberation, the true liberation, is exiting that cycle. And our universe, para, the first sphere point, and there's more on how sphere points are, the idea is like the point is also a sphere. The more you when you use generative time to like zoom in and examine and zoom in. Why attach the word meaning? Because no matter how literal and material you get, you cannot quite explain experience. No two people will ever have literally the exact same experience. This reminds me of the concept of like deep copies in computer science. You're still using another memory address, And as long as that's going on, there's no literal duplicate. Why would you need that? Even in that sense, a true duplicate, like literally exactly the same, I guess they don't exist because our universe is like semi-quasi-coded to be like low-key a hash set. Imagine it like a library. Okay, so you have all these books, all these stories that are there. You pick one. Unless you're like really cool and teach me, you can't really read multiple books all at once, like in a total focused, immersive experience way. It's one story at a time. Now think about just a singular book in front of you. The whole story, the end, the beginning, everything in between is already there to begin with. It is when you start, path traversal, right? Now you're reading it one page at a time, right? Linear space-time, entropic time, all of that kind of emerges. And then you finish your book. So imagine awareness and infinite possibility before our sphere point reality is materially realized. It's like a library of infinite books, and all of them with their latent selfhood and with the end also described and present even in the beginning of it, are just being realized through experience. Experience begets meaning. We have to be able to start having conversations about this. On the next episode, we're going to talk about what the process to create stories looks like.